Hello everyone, I'm Vaibhav Gupta, and in this video, we'll go over some quantum algorithms and we'll see some really cool real world applications of the quantum computing. So let's get started. First, we'll start with the Deutsch problem. This was the first algorithm designed for the quantum computers, and it was developed by David Deutsch in 1985. He is also considered as the father of quantum computing as he gave the first mathematical model for the quantum algorithms. So the Deutsch problem states that, let's say we have a system where we have a function f of x, which takes one bit as an input and gives one bit as an output. So it will take 0 or 1 as an input and it will give 0 or 1 as an output. The trick is this function can be a constant function. That means it gives 0 as an output irrespective of the input, or it gives 1 as an output. Or this function can be a bound function, like f of x is equal to x or f of x is equal to x bar. Now the task for us is to identify whether this function is a constant function or whether this function is a bound function. If we use the classical computers, we have to execute this function twice to identify whether it's a constant function or a bound function. So we have to do two iterations to solve this problem. Whereas with the quantum computers, we can solve this within one execution or within the first iteration. Let's see how can do that. As you can see on the screen, this is the circuit to solve the Deutsch problem. We have introduced one more qubit, Q2, and this Q1 is our qubit that we have to analyze. So, and this is the new one, Q2 star. So we have introduced one more qubit, Q2, and now we are doing the Hadamard transfer on the both, and then we are implementing our logic of U of f, which this is also known as oracle. And then we are doing the Hadamard transfer on the qubit that we want to analyze, and finally we are doing the measurement, which will collapse the states and give us one output. The oracle function will look something like this, as you can see on the screen, and the circuit output will look something like this, as you can see. I don't want to go into the mathematical details of the oracle function or the circuit output now, but rather I want to build an intuition regarding why quantum computers are different from the classical computers and how quantum algorithms can be much more efficient than the classical algorithms. So after the Deutsch problem, let's see some more algorithms in the quantum computing space. First one is the Shor's algorithm. It is a quantum computing algorithm for integer factorization in polynomial time. As we discussed in the previous videos, that still we are struggling to find an efficient algorithm which for the factorization in the classical computers. But for the quantum computers, this Shor algorithm can factorize the integers in the polynomial time. So this algorithm could be used to break the public key cryptography schemes, such as the RSA scheme. The second one is the Grover's algorithm. It is a quantum search algorithm that runs quadratically faster than equivalent classical algorithm. The trick is it doesn't search through the lists, rather it searches through the function inputs. It takes a function, it searches through the implicit list of the possible inputs to that function and returns the single input that causes the function to return true. So instead of searching for inside the list for an input, it rather search which input will return true for that list, for that entry. And then this is a very interesting problem called the map coloring problem. Let's say we have a country map of Canada, and in that we want to color this map, but the condition is I cannot have the same color for the adjacent regions. To execute this, to give an intuition on how we can execute it, let's consider a 2-qubit system. So the inputs that I want to, the inputs that I want to avoid are Q1 and Q1 and Q2 being both 0, or Q1 and Q2 being both 1. Rather, I would like to have 0 1 or 1 0 as my favorable bit states. So we will solve this using the optimization principle, where we'll say that in the quantum computer, all the states, they exist parallelly, and they are going to collapse into one favorable states, which will have the lowest energy, or the lowest function output. Let's see how we can achieve that. So let's say Q1 and Q2 both 0. Let's assign that as 0. For 0 and to assign 0 and 1, I know that for Q1 to be 0 and Q2 to be 1, that's my favorable output, and that should have the outcome value should be less than 0. So let's assign A2 as -1. Similarly, let's assign A1 as -1. Now for 1 and 1, for Q1 to be 1 and Q2 to be 1, I want to find a value of B such that A1 plus A2 plus B should be greater than -1. So I know that my A1 is -1, A2 is -1. I can assign my B to be 2. So here my B is 2. So this, sorry for that, but yeah, this will give me 0, -1, -1, and 0. Now, my two favorable outcomes have the least values. Similarly, we can scale it for the 3-qubit systems. If I want to implement the 3-qubit system, I want to favor this, either Q3 be 1, Q2 be 1, just Q1 be 1, and so on. And I don't want any other output. As here we are considering that we have 3 adjacent regions. So similarly, what we did with the 2-qubit system, will apply the same logic. So this is already 0. This I'll assign A as -1. So this function will give us -1. Second will give us -1. This will give me 0. This will give me -1, 0, 0, and this will give me 3. So as we can see, my favorable outcomes have the lowest values, which are -1. The values that I want to avoid are 0, 0, 0. I want to avoid 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, and 0, 1, 1. And 1, 1, 1, I would definitely want to avoid. So this has the most positive, and will not be able to see the 1, 1, 1 as an output. One thing that we have to consider here with the quantum algorithms are, these are more of the probabilistic this gives us more of the probabilistic outcomes instead of the deterministic outcomes. So as we are used in the classical computer, that it will certainly give me 1 as an output or 0 as an output. But in the quantum algorithms, we say that the probability of 1 is higher than the probability of 0. And if we run the quantum algorithms, let's say 1,000 times, the instances of my algorithm giving me 1 are more than the instances of my algorithm giving me zeros. So here, the probability that my algorithm will give me the favorable outcomes is much more. And the probability that my algorithm will give me 1, 1, 1 is the least, because it has the most value, the highest value. So after that, I also want to discuss one more interesting one more interesting example in the quantum computing space, called the protein binding example. So this is my research domain, and this is where I am doing my research. Is, let's say I have a structure of protein, as you can see, the protein 4q2s. And if I run that, if I visualize the structure in the Ovito software, I'll see this is how the structure of the protein looks like. And these white balls are all the possible binding sites on that protein where a receptor can bind. For this particular protein, there are around 2,231 binding sites. Using the classical computer, if you have to analyze each binding site, and if I have to test the receptor for each binding site, it's going to take some days. And to do that for 2,231 binding sites, you can judge that it's going to take a very long time. So what I'm researching on is I'm trying to improve this problem using the quantum computers. So here I'm exploring to use quantum computer in two different stages. My first stage is to filter out all the unnecessary binding sites. How we can do that? I can take these binding sites and I can map it to the qubits, and I can run the optimization problem where I'll find only those binding sites which has the highest polarities or the highest affinities. If I run that, as you can see on the screen, all these green dots are the binding sites which have the high affinities. As you can clearly see, it has reduced significantly from so many binding sites, so many initial binding sites here to only few binding sites here. Here we were using this algorithm, we were able to reduce the binding sites from 2,231 to merely 105. And I'm currently working on improving this figure to 2 digits. And the second thing that we can use the quantum computer is to see how the receptor will bind at our most favorable binding site. So this is how I'm using the quantum computers and the quantum computing algorithms to solve this protein binding problem. This video is all about giving the intuition regarding the real world application of the quantum computers. In the future video, we'll discuss on the resources that are available if we want to execute and implement our own quantum algorithms. So thank you.